Hello and welcome to a special presentation from In the Money Media. PTF here, the little house on the east side in Saratoga, joined by a man who told us off air that it's laundry day. I think he's just, the camera's not in his face. He's not in his fancy schmancy studio over there for his friends at VSIN today. He's putting in an extra shift to help us out. He's Gil Alexander. Gil, what's going on?
Peter, thank you for having me. It's not actually laundry day. I just feel like I'm embarrassed that I didn't dress for the podcast.
I'm wearing my Wayne Gretzky T-shirt here. We're hardly setting the banner high. I don't have one of my suits on today.
Did Wayne mean that about shooting shooting a puck in hockey, or did he mean that about something else, by the way?
I think he meant that about shooting the puck in hockey, but okay. I suppose it's open to interpretation.
I think so.
You are here today. We've been talking a bunch about a mutual friend/client that we have, Winners Circle Proxy. We'll talk about them a little bit more later in the video. But what I wanted you here to do, Gil, for one thing, I like to have you on the air as much as possible because I've stolen so much of my act from you, from listening to your NFL Megapod for many years since the beginning. I don't even want to. Don't tell me how long that's been now because it'll make me feel old. But
there's no money. No.
But I really appreciate the way you cover sports on a now daily basis. Always great to have you on. And I thought, who better than you to explain to my audience who know all about horse racing and horse racing betting contests, about a couple of the best sports betting, specifically NFL betting contests in the world that happen at Circa Survivor, and Circa Millions. I'd just love to get a little bit of a perspective from you about how these contests have grown since your podcasting days began, and what's so special about them. Why are they such a big deal?
Well, football season, we all love football. It's our national religion. And some people some people aren't about fantasy. Some people aren't about betting individual games with their hard-earned money. Some people enjoy a year-long arc where they can be involved in betting and have skin in the game, so to speak, but not have to sweat every single moment of for each game being a win-loss result, that they can actually do an arc over an entire season in different forms. So, back in the day when I first began my podcast, which was back in 2010 and 2011, the Hilton Super Contest ruled the roost. The Hilton, as it was called then, 5 games a week against the spread. And, so what's that? A 16-game schedule. I think this was when they had one bye, so 17 times 5, 85 games a year, 5 a week. And whoever had the best against the spread record at the end of the year won the pot. The Hilton used to take out a rake, though. And I'm not sure how far down on the list they went in terms of payouts, but that was how it was. And that was sort of, the universe of handicapping contests that were known outside of Vegas. There were a few others that existed here in town, but that was the one that was well known. Hilton became the Westgate. They added one called Gold, which was a $5,000 buy-in, as opposed to the Super Contest Classic, which was $1,000 or $1,500. I think it was $1,500 buy-in. And that was pretty much the only game in town in terms of the big ones until. And like I said, there's local shops like Stations that has something called Last Man Standing. There are others, but we're talking about the big ones now. Then Circa came into town. Derek Stevens' casino empire, as I like to call it. And they wanted to not only get into a football handicapping contest like the Westgate had, same format, 5 games a week against the spread for the full season, but they also started Circa Survivor, which has added a whole new dimension. And the difference really is that Circa has no rake whatsoever. They pay out a lot of spots. They do quarterly prizes as well in the Circa Millions. They do a booby prize. If you finish in last place, they pay out. And so the Westgate has really had to react to them.
And in terms of the prize pool, I mean, we're talking in the millions of dollars. I would venture to say it's something that most serious NFL bettors who are looking for a fun experience as well as one that could be profitable, this is on their radar.
Absolutely. 16 million guaranteed is the Circa promise this year. people looking for an overlay in previous years. That was always a big deal. But the reason that the pot gets so big is that they allow 10 entries. Let's take Survivor alone, Peter. They allow 10 entries per person in Survivor. So that's, $1,000 per entry. There's also a quirk at the beginning of the year where you could conceivably play the Thursday night game. If you lose that, you can still re-up with 10 more. Let's say you played 10, all your 10 on the loser. You're allowed to re-up before that first Sunday. So it's just an amazing amount. Now, there's also, between you and me, right, just you and I talking here, there's also some gamblers that probably put 10 in the name of their wife, 10 in the name of their child. They pair up with other people. So, yeah, and so it's 10 in quotes, right? But, and by the way, I happen to believe that some people believe you got to go max entry. I don't necessarily subscribe to that. I think you only play, your last one optimally. So maybe 10 is actually too many to start with. Some people disagree with that. I understand that why they do. But anyway, the strategies involved in Survivor, because some people play it literally. They're trying to survive as long as possible. Some of the sharper bettors are like, no, the object is not to survive. The object is to win. So they're aware always of what the optimal play is every year based on what others are playing consensus-wise. So it's a fascinating strategic game, Survivor. It becomes an obsession. Survivor does. The first Survivor, this is the 6th millions, and I believe the 4th Survivor. Don't hold me to the 4th Survivor. It's definitely the 6th millions. It's the 4th Survivor in terms of annual now. And the first year of Circa Survivor, I got to, I want to say 4 weeks left in the season. And I had the Rams, who were 17-point favorites at home against the New York Jets, and they lost outright. So you have to also know that the best laid plans, what's the statement? They're not always going to get there, I believe is the paraphrase of that. But it's tremendous. Circa does a fantastic job of it. And as you were intimating before, you don't have to be here to participate.
Yeah, well, that's what I love about this. You or someone on your team needs to be in Vegas at some point before the season starts. Correct. To do the sign up. So you either need to schedule a trip, which the Winner Circle Proxy team will help with. I'll pop up their website real quick to show that. winnercircleproxy.com/ITM. That's how to find this link. And you can sign up here for much more information. You can see the stats there about what folks have won. They will help you in your efforts to get out to Vegas. And then from there, they do the lifting. You can just from a computer each week be able to put your picks in. I mean, this to me is just a revelation, and you got to figure is going to lead to more interest than ever before in a tournament like this. This ability to play remotely. How new of an idea is that?
Proxies have existed for some time now on the handicapping contest side. The beauty of how they evolved, and you brought up Winner Circle Proxy, they do a couple of things that I think are pretty interesting. One, first of all, they had the 2023 Millions and Survivor winners. So maybe for the superstitious, maybe they're good luck. The other thing though is that I believe, you'll corroborate this for me, I think they send you an alert if you've gone too far in the week and you haven't put in your picks yet. They're sort of like, hey, just to let you know, you might jack this up if you don't send me. So, I mean, that's a big thing, Peter, because I live here in Las Vegas. I put in my own plays. There have been many a Saturday morning where I have oh my God, right? I got to set my alarms. The best players set their alarms several times during the day. They'll do it for you. Sometimes I leave town on a Friday and I won't get back till after the deadline Saturday. So I have to remind myself, put it in before I leave, which is not ideal because you really ideally want to wait till as long as possible so you have perfect information on injuries and that kind of thing. It's just, there's football and everything else, man. These contests are part and parcel with our football handicapping lives. I couldn't imagine not doing them.
Love it. That's a great description. Millions, which you're playing against the spread, Survivor. It's exactly what it sounds like. These are things that if you're an EV player, if you're just somebody who loves the NFL, you're going to want to get involved. And our friends at Winner Circle Proxy can help you out. winnercircleproxy.com/ITM, the place to sign up to learn more. And then you're going to follow during the season, not only listening to Gil daily during the week on VSiN, but also following along with the Beating the Book podcast and specifically the NFL Megapod, where you're going to be giving regular updates on all this.
Yes, we do. Every week we do a Circa Survivor update because we're more obsessed with that, quite frankly. And we like to see how long, because it's not just me on the show, as you know from the format, two regular staples of the show plus a rotating guest. So we like to see how it goes, who craps out first, who lasts the longest, see if we can possibly have a winner in there. It's fantastic, man.
Great stuff. Gil Alexander, folks, make sure to check him out at VSiN and Beating the Book. I'm Peter Thomas Fornatale. Check out In the Money Media's YouTube channel for much more content. Usually we're talking horses, but we're going to be mixing in some NFL as well.